Hi, Western students and alumni. This is Susan. Today I'm going to give you a tour of the MontanaWorks site. Now, MontanaWorks is the name of the state Department of Employment and Labor for the state of Montana. It serves not only workers, but business people, people who are job searching, and it's going to include some things that you can use now, but probably some things you won't need to use for a few years. But either way, you'll know where to go to get it. So this is their homepage. You can see that there's some information here for COVID-19 workers and businesses that are affected by the virus. Here is the name of this website. And also, I just want to say that every state has its own Department of Employment, Labor. They might call it something else, but very similar. It's providing the same services, though. So all of these states in the U.S. are working under the United States Department of Labor and Employment. And they're mandated to, provide these services to their workers. So I am giving you a lot of detailed information, but mostly because, you are just starting out in the world of work and a career. And so these are things that you may not be aware of. So we're going to overlook this right now. That's not applying to us at the moment. It's better to get an idea of what all services are available here. So you can see here, you could do a job search right here in this little window. It could be a job title. It could be a location. So if I put in Dillon zip code, for instance, I would get all the jobs that are listed in Dillon, and we are going to do that in a minute, but let's look down a little further. Okay, so what else? There's a lot of information down here still about COVID right now. There's a tab here for job seekers and UI claimants. UI is the anagram for unemployment claims. And so this is where somebody who got laid off would file a claim. And of course, you do have to have worked and earned some money in the last 4 quarters to qualify for unemployment. So just keep that in mind. But in the future, if you were laid off from a job, you may qualify for some unemployment. And that's just funds to help you get to a new job. I will tell you that when you are on unemployment, if you are expected to be brought back to work by the employer who laid you off, that's called job attached. And you may not have to look for work during the time you're receiving unemployment. However, job attached status does end after a short period of time, maybe a month or 2 months. And then at that point, you would be expected to look for work. So that's why this entire site is really helpful for workers from the beginning of their work career to the end of their work career. Business people use this work site to post jobs. So you can see that this database works together with job seekers, businesses, but also, and I really, really like this too, it's on this website. Some states have it on a separate website. So professional and occupational licensing is under the Department of Regulatory Agencies, normally called DORA, and they are giving you access to it from here. So an occupational license would be like a dental hygienist, or it could be an electrician or a plumber. All of those types of people are licensed to do jobs. So they do have to get relicensed to do jobs. So you will find here in this same page, just dropping down beyond the COVID COVID-19 stuff, you're going to see here where you can apply for a license or renew your license. If you need a board, for instance, to apply to, there's going to be information there about that. And so then this is just the bottom of the regular page. So, that's just a service that the state provides for workers and businesses and everything that is job related. Okay, so going down here now on the home page, we're looking at some of these things that have applied. I'm going to mention them just briefly because the CARES Act did provide some funds and grants for students in higher education, but it also provided some benefits for people who were self-employed and employed and those on unemployment compensation. So these were that grant actually was very, very helpful to full-time workers already in, in employment. So if you ever did have to file for unemployment, here is where you're going to find that information for that. All right. So again, how to file for unemployment, watch a video. Okay, so create an account. So this isn't just for unemployment. Yes, you do have to create an account, obviously, to get paid unemployment benefits. But at the same time, if you want to receive notices about job openings, this is how you can find that, how you will get that. They will send you a notice that a job has opened up in a certain place. So read this right here. Create a free account to register with job services and save job searches. Post resumes, track previously viewed job postings, and make unemployment claims. You can also look to see who is providing some training in certain types of occupations. And I think that is a really interesting service to check out. And I'm going to look at that right now because, well, I've had students come to me in their final year and they have said, it's not letting me look at that, probably because I'm, going through a couple of different doors to get there. And that's okay, but I would suggest that you look at it. So for instance, I've had students come to me that wanted to learn carpentry. I've had students come to me that wanted to be a boiler maker, wanted to learn some HVAC stuff. And so apprenticeships that might be supported by unions or that might be supported by the state are going to be listed here. It's just a great service because with your education now, graduating from college and combining that with some job training, wow, that's pretty great. And a lot of times it's what people like to do because they're choosing occupations that make them really happy. And so those jobs and that kind of thing last for a while. If you need to ever go and talk to someone in job service, the closest one to Dillon is in Butte, but there is a job service in Bozeman. There is one in Missoula, of course, and there is going to be one in Helena as well. People at a job service can connect you to all of these services, answer your questions, help you look for work, help you put together a profile on MontanaWorks, and then employers can look at those skills that you have and maybe approach you, save you a little bit of time. So the entire website is a network of people in common. And so what that would be people looking for work, people who have just been misplaced or displaced, I should say, from work, and that might be they were laid off because of the COVID-19. I guess furlough is a term that's kind of entered the American English language now, but laid off is what it's always been anyway. So just so it's just so you know, it's the same thing. And then how to find you know, other resources for training and just putting your resume together. Some of that is available as well. Here's the registered apprenticeships. And yes, it's right. You can get a paycheck while you receive training. The skills, the trades that people have or do depend on skills that are shared and taught from one group or generation of people to the next, to the next, to the next. And those types of skills are not always, well, they're difficult to learn out of a book, but not only that, they have faded, and some of those skills have been replaced by machines and other types of technology. So if you can, for instance, learn to be a plumber and to be able to be qualified as a licensed plumber, and you will be able to work as a plumber at the same time that you're learning, well, that's a pretty great process to be a part of. And yeah, it's really special because you're learning from people who have made these kinds of trades their livelihood. This has been their career for most of their lives. So check into that. If you do have some skills and you feel that your skill level has reached that of a contractor or a registered construction contractor or even a home inspector, you can learn how to be registered in one of these types of fields. So just again, more information for job seekers and workers. All right, so search for a job. So I'm going to show you up here, that's the same little button that we saw here, this field. So I'm going to go down because I don't want to miss anything else. Kind of just to see if you are eligible for unemployment. You do have to have some funds available, and that means you have had to have worked for some quarters. So search for a job. I'm going to come back to that. So they're just trying to, here's one job right here that they're just trying to put forward to people who are looking, because this is a temporary position, but these positions are paying pretty well, actually. So if you were thinking about helping with the census, you would be going door to door and visiting those houses where people have not turned in censuses. If you are start working there immediately in one of the census office, you will be opening census returns, calculating and I should say not calculating, but tabulating what you read off of the census form into a database. So that's a job that is available right now. And then here's some more information about those apprenticeships like I was talking about. Really great opportunities. Here's some more down here about the licensures and maybe certificates. And then I think this is interesting too. This is a little bit about labor market information. So we're going to come back to that in a few minutes. I want to show you how that can inform you about your future as a worker and help you determine a career. So I'm going to, where did I find it? I think I went past it. Oh, here we go. All right, I did go past it. So let's skip the job title, skills, or keyword. And we're going to go in here and just put in the zip code for Dylan. So 59725. Let's search for that. Okay, so 78 results in our zip code. And of course, it's going to be all over the place again because I did not put in a job title. So here's a job order right here. One of the schools is hiring a secondary teacher. The Town and Country is ordering a deli counter person. Somebody else is asking for a uniformed officer. This is part-time. I'm not sure if that is going to be security or what that is. Here's something else that some of our students might be interested in looking at to see if you qualify, and that would be as a therapist for the Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch. Part full-time teller. I happen to know there's somebody working at Stockman Bank right now, and I know there's probably been a lot of former Western students working at banks with business degrees. Store clerk, this is for Town Pump. Collection specialist for 3M. So this just gives you a list of the 78 jobs that are available in the 59725. And today is May 7th. So just keep that in mind. If you look at this later, a few months from now, some of these may not exist. This cadre instructor, well, I totally recognize that language. That's going to be for one of the CIs, is what they call them, for Montana Youth Challenge. A department manager at McDonald's, probably good pay there. A firefighter for seasonal work in Dillon, okay? Another shift manager. Oh, wow, there's just really a lot of jobs when you really think about this, that so many people have been laid off. There is some work available out there. So don't miss the opportunity to look at your state's website for open positions, because employers in your state are going to post jobs there. It's a free service. And the other thing I want to just tell you right now, because I know this for a fact, having done this before, and I moved to Montana, that places like Indeed, Glassdoor, Monster, all of those types of services, they are getting information about jobs from this exact website. If a job is open in your city, in your state, it is going to show here before it shows on Indeed. I know that for a fact. They download that information from each state's website. So come here first. Save yourself some time. Get your application in early. You don't have to wait for it to show up on Indeed, and then, get all of the marketing that goes along with it. So here, Murdoch's. Well, this might show up a couple of days from now in Indeed, but we already know that it's available. There's 4 jobs right there, Murdoch's. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So look at your state website. Can't really say much more than that. All right. So I'm just going to go back a page. I wanted to go down here and talk about labor market information and how this can help you. I put the 4 questions on the introduction to this tour on the Career Services Moodle page. So go back and check that out if you are curious about what those 4 questions are. And I just tell you briefly that labor market information is going to tell you about the health of jobs availability, and about the certain location, the health of the economy of the community, and all of that is important to growth of employment. So right now you have at the bottom of this page, the current unemployment rate in the state of Montana. It says it's seasonally adjusted because we know that Montana does get a lot of tourism in the summertime, and that slows down in the wintertime when it's cold and people have a harder time getting around. Well, you can see that this has not changed from last month. Last month it was 3.5% as well. However, when we look at this, we can see that the unemployment rate in the United States is 4.4%. So we are doing a little bit better, well, almost 1% better in the state of Montana than in the country as a whole. So we can break it down even further. When you look here, this is going to tell us exactly what the percentage is in each county. So if we're looking here in Dillon, we can see that Beaverhead County's unemployment rate is slightly less than the state's rate. However, if we look up here, it's higher in Lincoln County by a lot. That's quite a bit of difference. We're looking here, this is still high, but it's 6%. And this is 10%. That's a huge difference. And you could draw your own conclusions to really, you probably can based on what your knowledge is of this area up here in Montana, and maybe even this area over here. But if we look over here, this is, you know, what, close to Wyoming, South Dakota's over here. This is a very low unemployment rate, 2.7%. And then here, Gallatin, okay, 2.5%. Well, there's a university there. There's a lot of construction going on there. There might be some workers from Yellowstone that are tourism is, you know, starting to wake up a bit. So anyway, that's interesting information, and it can inform you before you decide to take a job maybe in one of those areas. So here is a website that is connected to MontanaWorks. You can see it's part of the official montana.gov site, labor and industry. Okay, so labor market information. I would encourage you to create an account at the MCIS, and we'll look at that in a minute. But if you create an account there, you will have tools to a lot of things that you can do yourself to improve your job seeker resources. Okay, so look at this, informational wage rates by occupation. Well, that's pretty great. We can go back this direction and see, okay, Labor Day report, that was 2019, so that would have been a year ago in 2019. So by occupation, a little bit more information. This is how many people are required to fulfill open positions, and that's super important for colleges because they want to provide the right education and training for that labor market that is going to be demanding a certain number of employees in the future, or if that has changed and that there's a great fall in the demand for a certain career, you need to know that too. You don't want to train for something, you don't want to invest money in a career that is not going to need very many employees in the future. So that's really what this is all about. What's a popular job? Let's look here. Welcome to Montana Labor Market blog. Okay, this is where people, looks like I've been writing and asking questions. So one of them is, what's the difference between the GDP and personal income? Well, GDP is gross product, and personal income is money made on at a job, doing a job. So that would be interesting to know a little bit more about that. Here again is the unemployment rate. Here it is broken down into counties. Let's see. Labor force statistics, how many people are working in both seasonal and non-seasonal positions. If we look at March and we look at Montana, the labor force those people with jobs that are seasonally adjusted, this is the number right here. So the labor force stands at 538,014 people are working in Montana in seasonally adjusted positions. And then employed, I'm not really sure. Oh, I see. That this is the labor force. This is the number of people who are either working or can work. So some people may be unemployed right now, but they still are considered to be workers that are contributing to the overall labor force number. And then on this one here, this non-seasonal, these are going to be more of the stable, full-time, year-round employment. And that's not very much affected by different seasonal opportunities. And that could include weather. It could include, like we don't have swimming pools open, obviously, all year, right? And we don't have ski areas open all year. So it's talking about that kind of thing. So again, you can click on a county, see what the unemployment rate is. There's some more information about statistics. If you wanted to know about a specific type of job, you could select it right here and look at the data research information that comes up. So I used to actually remember what this OES is, this occasional or occupational employment, could be status. I'm sorry, I don't remember that, but it really is fascinating research. And again, this is what, well, so much of this information goes into decision making about minimum wage, about housing, about community growth, which is going to include housing, obviously, about, I told you already about colleges and universities and being able to provide the right training and education for jobs that will be coming up and there will be a large demand for in the future. There's just, the Department of Labor takes this information and use it to make these decisions about the economic growth in the country. Jobs is a big part of that. And if you are interested in this kind of thing, you could spend quite a bit of time looking at that. I'm going to go back up to the MCIS and show you how that can work for you. I'll just tell you that again, every state does have one of these. So if you, one of these types of websites, they have labor market information. So if you are thinking about relocating to another state and you are been given a job offer, it is well worth your time to come in here and or to go to that state's website and do some research on the labor market information, just like you would on the community. If you have kids, you're going to want to know how many schools there are, or what the schools are like, or what school rating is. All of that's going to be important to you. So is knowing about the health of the community that you would be moving to. So let's check it out, the MS or MCIS. And I do have some more information about MCIS in the Learning Center, so or by the Career Services area. So feel free to come in and I can show you some of that information as well. So thanks for hanging out with me while we talk about this. Yeah, it's learning, but it's learning of a different kind, obviously. So this is one way to learn some information about different types of jobs. What's happening, what's going to be happening in the future, how do you prepare for it, what do you need to know about the academic requirements, about the training requirements, just the investment in learning a job. So there's so much available, and some of the high schools are using this as well, which makes it very user friendly. But here we are at the home page. So create goals, and this is great. See, they have some what we call manipulatives that you can print out and use for yourself. So that's just a little chart that says, okay, that you might have a question like, what do I like to do? And then list things that you like to do. And this is just one way to help you determine what is a good fit for you in the future with a specific career. So about us, it tells you who's doing this and why they're doing this. So it's with the Department of Labor and Industry, Workforce Services. Again, just a lot of information for up and coming new workers. So you can take a tour. There's been 2,000 videos added to schools. So some of that is going to still be interesting to a new college graduate. I think it's worth checking out. They're going to talk a little bit here about career clusters, which is a similar, or I want to say it's similar terminology to what is known in the adult work world as occupational categories. Saying it's the same thing, the different types of jobs under a specific occupation. It's interesting to look at that. Here's adult and other agency type of information. So it's definitely worth checking out there. Technical support, just what kind of system you need to have be able to have a good response with the interactive manipulatives that are on here. I'm not sure what that is. It says clever, and then privacy. So set up an account. It's free, and let's just look here. I'll end with this because I'm kind of curious what this says under adult and agency. What the brochure looks like. Okay, so here it is. These are the kinds of assessments that you can do on the CIS. I just think it's fun, and not only is it fun, it's something you can do on your own. You don't need somebody to guide you on this. You can do it when you want to. So let's just break it down. Here's that career cluster inventory I told you about. Skills is another one. This is going to be learning about the skills you have and then lining it up with specific occupations. So we're talking about not only skills for a specific occupation, but we're talking about transferable skills from one type of work to another type of work. Interest profiler. So it says relate interest to Holland types and careers. Well, Holland is an assessment that is on paper that used to be given to people who were undecided what type of career that they wanted. It's been around for a long time, and it actually was one tool that helped people who may not have gone to university, because most of the time in university people do decide what kind of career they want in the future. And so this was a tool that was very, very helpful to people right out of high school who hadn't had that university experience and kind of shaping of their desires in a toward a work goal, I should say. So work importance locator, what is your work needs? What do you need to make you happy? And then seeing if those kind of values are good for you. So like, for instance, if you need the freedom in a job to be able to wear clothing that is casual, could be jeans, doesn't mean that it has to be, manual labor to wear jeans, but it's probably not going to be an office job or a position in a bank, that it's just a great questionnaire to just kind of better understand yourself and what your needs are. Because if you are working where you're not willing to accept the work values of the place you're working for, then you're not going to be happy there very long. Learning style survey. Okay, we talk about this. This is one thing I talk about with tutors as I'm training them. How do people learn? Well, you know, we have to know that, because for the tutors to be effective with you, they kind of need to be able to recognize the best way that you learn, so they can give you information that you understand and that you can apply. On the other hand, it's really helpful if you know yourself the type of learner you are. So take that little survey. I mean, this is great, free, to all job seekers in Montana. Employability. Wow, well, that's a little bit different types of skills. So you definitely need to look at that. Combined reports. So it can take all of these assessments and give you a report that you can look at, that can help steer you towards a certain type of employment. And then you will have a link that will kind of, again, align you with occupations. Exploration and application tracker. This is just a way for you to track through CIS as opposed to on your own computer. So sure, why not use that? There's a career planning tool, occupation sort, meaning looking at all the occupation categories. There's 16 of them, and within those 16 there's 81 different careers and over 550 occupations. That's a lot, right? And they're growing all the time. And so also you want to sort your school and scholarship options. Where's the best place to get the education that you need to be able to do this job, or the training you need to do this job? All of that's super important. Also, if you were ever thinking of joining the military does train people in specific jobs. So maybe that's the answer for you. Entrepreneur quiz and self-employment. Do you have what it takes to be your own boss and start a business? These are great tools. Employment, you know, we have Optimal Resume as a service for students and alumni at Western, but the Resume Creator is very, very similar. It's only going to help you build that resume though. And so it's just another tool. I'm just going to remind you, Optimal Resume lets you build websites, lets you interact with an interviews teaching module. It also lets you build a portfolio. So it may be better. It integrates everything in one place. How to job search, that's great. Your local job service can help you understand that as well. And then how to know what are, or learning the good habits for good work ethic, I should say, in most jobs. Maybe understanding the difference between soft skills and the skills you learn to do the job. The soft skills are those good job habits that help you work well, not only with your supervisors, but with your coworkers. So I'm going to just close that and go back to the CIS main page, home page. Let's go home. And again, it's very, very simple. You're a Montana resident. You're going to click on there. You're going to just, here's where you can start. And then, and I have done this before, so I might as well, I know what happens here. At least they will give you an option. So I'm going to put Dylan in, and I'm going to put in 59725 and sign in. And here, there's a lot of things you can do without creating a portfolio, but you can create a portfolio, and then all of that is saved within. Now, this isn't the same kind of portfolio that I'm talking about for Optimal Resume. Optimal Resume portfolio is intended to show your skills, to an employer. The portfolio they're talking about here is a portfolio of all of your job seeking information, your work information, your career goal information, your career information system. And so everything from this particular website, you can create a portfolio for, so that way, you can move it around with you, but it's all in one convenient place. So here's where you might start, and looking at your occupation matches. That's going to be after you take a few of those assessments we talked about. So yeah, just there's so much for you to do. So this Big Sky Pathways, this is a great place too. So every state has to have one of these, and actually all higher ed students should be very familiar with this. And high school graduates, you need to know about this too, because this is career and technical education. So again, we don't really just do a job after having 4 years of classroom learning. Okay, you have to learn some skills about the job along with the knowledge about the job. Like let's just look at science. So biology, you guys are going out in fields, you're going out into areas where you're collecting soils, looking at plants. Well, if you didn't get that kind of training like you do at Western by going on a field experience like that, how would you know how to do that, right? So that is an advantage of having field experience and experience one at Montana Western. But at the same time, this gives you an idea of the more specific pairings of not only career and technology, but how that is put together. So just look through here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here, but I will look at this Montana Career Pathways because I love this site. And this is, again, helpful for high school seniors and university higher ed students. And look through this. It tells you all about these occupations and what is needed to be in there. What is needed to do this kind of work. So it's great information. It's fascinating information. And it definitely, if you are familiar with this information here, you've got your education, you have some hands-on, oops, look, they spelled hospitality wrong. But you have some hands-on information with training. Well, anything that you are going to learn here is going to make you a very competitive job seeker in that occupation. So this is a great place to get additional information about the career you're looking for. So I'm going to leave you with that. This has been a pretty long tour of these websites. Please come in. I love this stuff. I'm happy to talk to you about it. I'm happy to show you things. In the end, though, of course, you're going to be the one to look this stuff up for yourself and know how it applies to you. It looks like there's some information here about grants that are available, some videos. So, this is great. And this is on the Montana University system. And so this is intended for college graduates. Please take advantage of these services and your other state services when it comes time to thinking about your future career and taking those first steps after graduation on finding a job. All right, good luck to you.